DK, can you explain to us what happened in Detroit?
You had to be the one to ask him. No, I can't.
What was that process like as far as the appeals and talking with the NFL? Just kind of, can you walk us through that process?
I can't walk y'all through nothing that happened.
Were you surprised that the appeal was upheld and didn't go the other way?
Yeah, but that's all I can say.
I respect that you don't and can't really go into a lot of it, but is there anything you would like to clarify about misinformation or anything else?
I can't say nothing about what happened.
Is that because there's ongoing?
I can't say anything about what happened for the 5th time.
Oh, DK Metcalf back with the Steelers after his 2-game suspension ended. Look, Devin, this is obvious. And we know that the fan who was involved in the altercation with DK Metcalf, Week 16 in Detroit, he's got lawyers. He had a press conference that kind of felt like an SNL skit when you watched it. Wearing his suit with his Lions hat backward. He had everything but the foam finger. And he's lawyered up. And so has DK Metcalf. Because a lawyer, I'm assuming, based upon his responses yesterday, has told DK, you cannot talk about this. Because anything that he would say about it can and will be used against him in court. You know, some armchair lawyers think, oh, that's hearsay. He's not saying it in court. You can use anything that someone you have sued says anywhere, and you have it. There's no misunderstanding about what he said. He's saying it in front of cameras and microphones. So DK Metcalf was doing what his lawyers have told him to do, because right now DK Metcalf is bracing and should be bracing for Ryan Kennedy to file a lawsuit, whether it's for assault, whether it's for defamation, based upon the stuff that was put out there after the incident happened. That's why Metcalf didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense. And I thought it was funny, too. Once he said, for the 5th time, I can't say, I think the reporters was like, all right, DK, you got it. Like, we're paying attention. We're going to leave you alone on that subject. And, again, I think it's like you said, it's what we all expected. And I'm sure for him, he's just happy to be back in the building. Like that, I don't care what he says. That was not easy Sunday night, sitting there watching your team and Tyler Loop lines up for the field goal that's going to end your season, and your team would have ended with 2 final losses, and you were suspended for both. Like that, I don't care who you are. That is not an easy thing to sit there and watch for the whole entirety of that game, and knowing you would have had a huge impact, because the last 2 games, 2 divisional opponents, 2 teams you had big games against. So good for him getting an opportunity to come back, be with the team, and try to push forward in the playoffs.
They clearly would have beaten the Browns if they would have had DK Metcalf. They got down to the goal line. They had those multiple shots. Marquez Valdez-Scantling covered by Denzel Ward. Aaron Rodgers kept throwing it to his security blanket, and it just didn't work. MVS doesn't have the same athleticism as DK Metcalf. Few do. And then if the Tyler Loop kick doesn't go wide, Metcalf isn't in the locker room yesterday. There's no reason for anybody to be there because their season is over. It's amazing he has a shot at redemption. Here he is from yesterday on the Steelers making the playoffs, despite the fact that Metcalf wasn't there for the last 2 games.
I'm excited as hell to be back in the building around my teammates, being in meetings, going to practice, all the things that, encompass a week of preparation.
You mentioned some of the
emotions and how hard it was to watch. Was there, from one point of view, a sense of feeling responsible for not being out there emotionally?
No, sir, because, I feel full responsibility for my actions, and, that's it. But, I've got the utmost respect and, confidence in my teammates for still going out there and performing to the best of their ability. We were definitely starting to hit our stride as an offense. I think we found our groove and, hoping we can pick that back up.
They had their best game of the year offensively against the Detroit Lions, the game that was played right before the Metcalf suspension happened. And I know that there's folks around the league who think he should have gotten more than 2 games. And the closest apples-to-apples comparison is Dre Greenlaw getting suspended 2 games for yelling, not touching, but yelling at Brad Allen, the referee from that Giants-Broncos epic. I think Greenlaw was mad because there was a pass interference call near the end that didn't look like pass interference, and I don't know what he was mad about, but he yelled at him after the game and got suspended 2 games. And I've had people say to me, how is that the same as going over to the railing and grabbing a fan and throwing your fist up at the fan? How are those two the same? But regardless, he's back. He's available. He'll be on the field Monday night when the Steelers host the Texans. We were talking about the story of the break. I'm going to be going through Pittsburgh. I may have to go to that game. I've checked the weather first. Although it ended up Sunday night, I think it's all about how you mentally prepare for the elements. I wasn't prepared when we were in Philadelphia for the Lions-Eagles game mid-November, and it was low 40s, windy. I was miserable because I wasn't ready for it. I had my NBC issued dress shoes on with no foot warmers. I had my slacks on with no layers underneath. Miserable. Coat, flimsy coat, miserable. I was fine Sunday night. I was feeling good. Now, it helped that they had 2 of those jet engine heaters nearby. The team had one, and we actually, we plunked down the coins to have one there. I appreciate that very much, Comcast. I appreciate my paycheck as well, Comcast. I'm not complaining about anything. Thank you for keeping me warm on Sunday night. So I just have to check. Because I doubt that it will be quite as comfortable if you don't have access to all the things we had access to on Sunday night.
Hey, but anybody out there, you're going to the game, maybe you're a West Virginia native. Mike Florio would love a seat in a suite. So if you want to sit by somebody, ton of inside information, he's going to be happy if the Steelers win. He's not going to be the most positive guy in there, which I think some people will appreciate. He's going to give you all the lowdown on the lowdown. Hey, give him a suite ticket. How many suite tickets you need? Let's get it right now.
Well, you made the comment that I seemed very friendly and nice to everyone we saw, and I said you never know who the high rollers are. Be nice to everybody because you never know where the secret high roller is who may say, hey, come to the game next week and sit in my suite. You always got to be thinking a few levels ahead. I was happy to be back in Pittsburgh. I've lived in and around Pittsburgh my whole life. You were surprised. It's like, how big of an asshole do you think I am? I was saying hi to the people that we saw. It was just nice to be back in Pittsburgh. It was nice to be in Acrisure Stadium, even though I still think of it as Heinz Field. It was just nice to be back in. I was just happy that I didn't have to get on a plane this weekend. It was a great look. We almost got stuck in San Francisco, which I would not have been nearly as chipper if we were in Santa Clara on Sunday night. I was able to get in a car Sunday morning, slept in my bed Saturday night, worked in the back seat for an hour and a half, got to the casino early, settled in, had some coffee, worked all day. It was great. I was home by 11 o'clock yesterday. It was great. I'm going to petition Comcast to move the show to Pittsburgh, full-time basis. Or I could just move to Connecticut, as Chris Sims has been advocating that I do for years. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.